Here, listen to this. You don't have to get so close, dude. It's very unhappy.
Yeah.
It's definitely shot. Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name's Jesse. This is Cadillac Rod and Customs. So, last time I had the limo running, I had only ran for, 5 or 6 minutes after I fixed the exhaust. And I opened the hood and I was looking around at shit, and I leaned down and put my hand on the alternator, and it burned some of the skin off my hand. The alternator should not get that hot when it's running for just a few minutes, which tells me that the brushes in there are probably bad, or it's got a bad bearing or something, so I have to replace it. So I start looking around, because when I first bought this car, I thought it was a 472, because it's a Fleetwood 75. It's a giant car, it's heavy. I don't know, stupidly assumed, I guess. Doing a little bit of research, come to find out it's a 429, which is still a really good motor. It's actually, I think it's a better motor because it's not as prone to head gasket failures and overheating, so that's good for me. But scouring YouTube, there's very few videos on alternator removal on these pre-67 429s. So I figure I'll make a video if you're here because if you have a 429 and you're trying to get the alternator out, this is for you. If you're just here to help me get my views and grow my channel, I still appreciate you. But also, today we're here with apparently the favorite of my channel. What do you think, dude? What's the weather like today?
Not bad.
Is it going to be a good day?
Hopefully.
Looks like it's going to be warm. Clear skies, there's no clouds or nothing.
Wait, there isn't? Oh, I just see one cloud.
Yeah, it's far away though.
Yeah.
Should we show these people how to take this alternator off?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. This is obviously a factory AC car, which AC I think would still work if I charged it and all that shit, but that's not what we're here for. So the alternator, I already have the belt off because I already had all this stuff apart, and was sitting down this morning and thought, I should make a video because I couldn't find one myself. So I had to quickly throw this all back together. I didn't hook the wiring up and I didn't tighten any of the bolts, but you can understand the basics of it here. So, like I said, belt's already off, and you obviously have top bolt here, and that way down there is the bottom nut. It's not a bolt, it's a nut, but battery terminal, I've got all this stuff zip tied together. It's 3 wires that come off of mine, 2-prong plug, and then down there it's just a little ground wire. It's like a, I don't know, 16 or 14 gauge wire, but that's it. So then you take this one off. See if we can get in there and get it. Here. Can you see the screen?
Yep.
Okay. Now these 429s are kind of tricky to get the alternators out. You have to take this bolt right here out, and this is a 14 or 9/16, and then pick this up so it's up out of the way. If you wanted to, you could probably double nut this and back this stud all the way out and just pull that out, but I didn't have to. It wasn't in the way. Then you have this bottom nut clear down here. Dude, you have to show the people what we're looking at. You have to see it. Can you see where my hand is?
Right there.
Right there. So I'm on the bottom nut down here. Here, get that up out of the way. And the bottom nut down here, and it has a washer behind it. So that's up out of the way. Let me see it.
Okay.
Then if you look right down there, there's those 2 bolts. That bracket comes off the front of the alternator right here and goes around to those 2 bolts and they're bolted into the exhaust manifold. It's like a stabilizer bracket or whatever. So all your weight's not sitting on that one stud. But I remember this from when I tore the other Cadillac apart, that bracket's kind of a pain to get like a wrench or anything in there. But luckily for me, I already had these bolts out. They're already loose. So I'm gonna reach down in there and take those 2 bolts out, and then I'll come back. And we're back. Now the way I did this, I come in here with my hand next to the AC pump so I can reach around underneath it to get this one, and then also to get those 2 bolts there. It's easier to hold your wrench from down here instead of coming in from up here somewhere, because there's really not much room here to get anything in there unless you have like a swiveling head ratchet wrench. But even at that, the angle on those bolts, it's just easier to come in from the bottom here. But anyway, those are 9/16 bolts as well. So I got those 2 bolts out, and then this bracket here comes off the front. That. Now, you have to see the alternator, okay?
Right there.
Yeah, that'll work. Now when you get that bracket off, this might be kind of a bear, but it just comes off the front. Then you gotta kind of fight all this, all your heater hoses and all that nonsense to get it up out of here. There is your baby. Now I watched a video and a guy says, oh, well, I just took my bottom bolt out. My bottom bolt probably would come out if I double nutted right here, but I'm not worried about that. I just left the stud in there. It's fine. Now we gotta go into price, see if we can find a new one of these. I doubt it's gonna be in stock, but
Won't be.
if it's not, we'll just order one.
Yep.
And in a
And
couple of days,
hopefully it'll be there.
it'll be there in a couple of days. When it shows back up, I'll just reverse the steps that, we just did. Buy a new belt for it, maybe. And also I have to replace this heater hose because it's left the chat. But, that's what happens when a car sits out in the desert for 30 years. The hoses dry rot and they crack, and it's fine. So, like I said, gonna go into town today, order an alternator, get some heater hoses, and then we'll come back to reassembly. What do you think?
Sounds good.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You about ready to go into town?
probably.
Get some
Mostly.
lunch?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Say bye to the guys.
Peace. That's the only.
Alright guys, that's probably going to wrap this one up because I don't really feel like taking 3 or 4 days just to wait for an alternator to come in to put it back together. But I just wanted to give you kind of a quick rundown of how to remove a pre-67 429 alternator. It's not difficult. The hardest part is getting to those bolts on that bracket that bolts to the manifold. That's the hardest part, and wiggling the alternator off because, as well as I do, that shit likes to build up between studs and the mounting holes. So it takes a little bit of work and a lot of wiggling to get it to come loose. But once you get it loose, take some Scotch-Brite. That's all I use. Just clean your threads up, clean all that muck off of that stud, and then it'll slide right back on there, easy peasy. So sorry it's a short one today, but haven't made content for a minute, and need to replace this alternator because now that it has brakes, I want to drive it, and I can't drive it if it's not charging the battery. Plus, I gotta put the driver's door back together because I don't know why the hell they tore it apart, but it doesn't have the door handle in it. The wiring for the windows isn't hooked up, so I can't shut the door and get back out because I can't roll the window down and I can't open it from the inside. So I got to put all that back together, and I'll probably maybe do a video on that, but I don't know yet. So like I said, I want to drive it. Got to put an alternator in it first, and yeah, I'll be back then. Also, a project you guys have never seen. It's not going to be a project on this channel, but it will be a project, hopefully, on somebody else's. The guy that bought it has a channel, but hasn't really done anything with it yet. But he said he's going to on this. So once all this white shit melts, he's going to come out and pick it up. We're going to do a little video when he comes out and gets it and all that fancy stuff. And hopefully he documents his progress. Yes, I did mean snow. Hopefully he documents his progress on that Oldsmobile. So yeah, I'm excited to get it out of here. I could put something else in its spot. Maybe grow some grass in the backyard. I doubt it, but maybe. So thank you guys for coming out today. Not coming out, but coming to hang out. And we're gonna go in the house and get cleaned up so we can head into town and get some food.
TV too.
We got to get a new TV and order an alternator, hopefully, if the parts house is open. So remember, guys, your dreams don't work unless you do. So go outside and tear something apart, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Peace.